What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. We are here for episode 11 of our Madden 21 Philadelphia Eagles franchise. And today, get a comfortable spot. Buckle up because it is the complete offseason from our incredibly disappointing loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Where absolutely, positively, no one was wide open on the final play of the game. We got Deshaun Jackson back. We got all our timeouts too. And now, we're going to go back to the drawing board. And this is a big offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a big offseason for me because it gives me an opportunity to try and fix my favorite team. Now, luckily, we were able to finish out this year in Madden, probably and most likely better than how Philadelphia Eagles will be able to finish out the year in real life. At 6-9-1, NFC East champs, and we got an epic playoff victory under our belt. There's not a whole lot we can do right now until we get to the end of the season here as we watch the NFC Championship game between Green Bay and Seattle and the AFC Championship game between Pittsburgh and the Tennessee Titans. I mean, that's a huge upset. 42-27, Tennessee knocks off the defending champs and Patrick Mahomes. You have the Steelers in getting over the Bills. Luckily, I will say with this loss and this result, I will be able to announce our team's new offensive coordinator. And our defensive coordinator is also signed, sealed, and ready to be delivered. So I assume before we go any further, we need to let you know Philadelphia doesn't have any acting offensive coordinator, so I can just announce that one. And obviously we saw at a vital, pivotal fork in the road, we did fire Jim Schwartz after multiple just garbage results that, did not warrant him retaining his job. So without further ado, before we carry on, before we see if any Philadelphia Eagles made the Pro Bowl, I would like to introduce to you our defensive and offensive coordinators for the 2021 NFL season. Introducing our offensive coordinator, I have gone with Ken Dorsey, the quarterback coach of the Buffalo Bills. 9 years in the NFL, and obviously we've seen the success and development and growth that we've seen from Josh Allen. A lot of Buffalo Bills fans do think it is down to Ken Dorsey, a little bit of a quarterback whisperer. And when you are the Philadelphia Eagles, that is priority number one this offseason. How do we salvage Carson Wentz? And there's no better proof is in the pudding type hire in terms of fixing quarterbacks right now that's available to us as an OC than there would be in Ken Dorsey. Also need to remind yourselves that in 2015, Ken Dorsey was the quarterback coach in Carolina when Cam Newton won the MVP, which is one of the most impressive MVP seasons. So the history, the accolades are everything that I think we need in an offensive coordinator here in Philadelphia. So I'm excited to announce Ken Dorsey will be our offensive coordinator. And for our team's new defensive coordinator, I knew this all along. Did not have to think twice. We have brought back Mufasa himself, DeMeco Ryans, who's been earning his craft as the linebackers coach for the San Francisco 49ers. 4 years in the NFL, has worked under defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, who might be the hottest name if you're looking for a defensive head coach in the NFL right now. He's developed one of the best linebacking corps in the NFL with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, guys that, were coming out of college, and he has made them into a very legitimate group. And Fred Warner, according to Aaron Rodgers, is the best linebacker in the NFL. Also, got to remember, Mufasa, 4 years here in Philadelphia, was a team captain, 330 tackles, 29 TFLs, 5 sacks, 5 picks, 20 pass breakups. The time is now. Mufasa is back in Philadelphia as our DC. The hiring process for the coordinators wasn't overly difficult. I knew what I wanted in my DC and DeMeco Ryans. I think that'd actually be a great hire for Philadelphia. Offensively, my favorite playbook this year has been the Vegas Raiders, but there was no one really on the Vegas Raiders coaching staff that would make sense practically for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll be rocking and rolling with what McDermott has here for Ken Dorsey, that offense, the Brian Dable offense, and the Kyle Shanahan defense to give us a fresh look here at offensive and defensive play calls for the upcoming season. I'm excited for that. The Super Bowl has been set. Super Bowl 55, Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Fitting, I guess. Sure, ran the ball. What an awful game that would have been. 12-6. What? What? Tannehill got hurt? So they had Woodside. Looked like Tannehill will be healthy. Tennessee was able to win with Logan Woodside at quarterback. So Pittsburgh absolutely did not deserve to get into the Super Bowl. 28-21, the Green Bay Packers knock off the Seattle Seahawks. Looking like probably defensively is where the biggest advantage came. Maybe. Yeah, you could see a lot more pressures. So the offensive line let down the Seattle Seahawks. So that's your Super Bowl. Let's look at the Pro Bowl. How many Philadelphia Eagles do we have representing here in the NFC? Miles Sanders is running back 1, which you always like to see. Jason Kelce is the starting center. Brandon Graham, defensive end 1. Fletcher Cox, defensive tackle 1. We have Darius Slay somehow as corner 1, even though he got picked on left, right, and center in pretty much every game that we hopped in. But hey, that's not bad. That's a solid list of Philadelphia Eagles representing our team here in the Pro Bowl, which I'm absolutely 100% never, ever going to play in my Madden franchises. The Green Bay Packers are your 2021 Super Bowl champions, 31-21, able to knock off Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans. Almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers. Looking like he probably would have been the MVP. And Quinemy St. Brown was the leading receiver. Of course, Devontae Adams would most likely have a Super Bowl that looks like that. Not a lot of plays. Yeah, it probably went MVP right there, going to Aaron Rodgers as he gets his 2nd Super Bowl title. Matt LaFleur getting one over on his former team. For us, let's see if we have any depth traits on the offensive side of the ball. Jason Kelce didn't retire, which is massive for us. Miles Sanders has gone up to a superstar depth trait, which makes a whole lot of sense because he was very much a top 3 at worst running back this season. So that's huge for the offense. Another big get. No other depth traits to be had on the offensive side of the ball. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Brandon Graham. I think he was already a superstar player. Oh, no, I guess he was only a star somehow. So even though he had massive regression across the board, BG late in his career is going to be a superstar player for us. I don't think we had any other depth traits, which is unfortunate. I thought it would be interesting if Alex Singleton, per se, or one of the outside linebackers got some of that outside linebacker cheese and went up in a depth trait, but I'm fine with it. Miles Sanders going up a superstar is as good enough for me as I can ask for. And looking here in the NFL, do we have any retirements? Jason Peters has decided to retire. I guess that makes it a little less awkward for the negotiations. In terms of like big retirements, T. Sizzle's gone, Greg Olsen, Dwayne Brown, Andrew Whitworth, Jason Peters, Donald Penn. So it's like an era, a generation of offensive linemen. Cam Wake, Jason Witten, Richie Incognito, Calais Campbell, Larry Legend, Delaney Walker, AP, Frank Gore, Alex Mack. This is taking a hit on the offensive line across the world. Josh McCown, another name that I very much considered for the head coaching position here for Philadelphia. Even if we could have a staff, Josh McCown would come on as our quarterback coach 100%. I just didn't want to throw that in there. Jonathan Joseph, former Eagle legend, Najee Good, Alfred Morris, Bethea, Eagle legend Orlando Scandrick, Pete Carroll, and Big Red have also retired. That might be the biggest news of all. Andy Reid hanging them up. Love him. We love Big Red for everything he did here in Philadelphia. Let's move on to the next stage of the offseason. So just to be clear that I'm not just skipping signing free agents, which, I mean, I don't want to lose Boston Scott. I don't want to lose Cam Johnson. I would like Ray. Rudy Ford's a great special teamer. Quincy Wilson. I have $0. And I have worse than $0. We are $47 million over the salary cap. So that is obviously the first massive hurdle that we have to embrace and embark on here with Philadelphia, and that is getting under the salary cap. So we're probably not going to be able to sign any free agents whatsoever. The perch of salary cap begins here at wide receiver, and while things have not ended well for Alshon Jeffrey in Philadelphia, I will never forget what he did that Super Bowl year. I appreciate you, but we're going to have to get all that extra money available for the salary cap. Another one, the nostalgic move that did not pay off. Probably my favorite wide receiver ever in Philadelphia. Very questionable off the field, especially with some of his readings. But it sucks that this didn't work out, but that salary cap is just simply ridiculous. And if we get You know, if we get under the salary cap and I can throw like a 1-year flyer on Deshaun before he retires, maybe I'll take a look at that. But right now, that is just way too much money. I think Deontay Burnett, another guy here, almost, you know, 700,000. Every little bit counts when you're this over. I would love to get rid of JJ because I'm absolutely sick and tired of him being on the roster because it's just an ugly reminder about everything that's wrong with this pick. We just can't be taking hits at this given point. So he's just going to be depth. I'll tell you right now, he is firmly behind Quez Watkins as the last wide receiver on our depth chart. It's going to be an ugly breakup. I'm going to try to trade him before I cut him. It's just, you know, put him up on the trade block. Hopefully we can get some draft interest for draft picks because we need more draft picks. But Zach Ertz's time, 95% is over here in Philadelphia. Not many changes you can make on the offensive line. We are going to have to figure this out between Dillard and Mailata. The logical move would be to kick one of these guys into left guard, but unfortunately, I cannot cut Siumalu, so it's one of those things we're going to have to deal with on the O-line. Brandon Graham just coming up. Like, that is a contract I was expecting I could kind of get off the books here. I can't do it. I can't do it after having a breakout year. I just cannot. So we'll get rid of Sharif Miller. He's just kind of holding up a roster spot at this point. Free up a little bit more money. Same could probably be said for Joe Osman. That's not really working out for us, even though he had a ridiculous year at Central Michigan. Go look at his final year in college. We'll go with Chad Thomas. And look at the opposing side, though. Derek Barnett. You got to move on. There's $10 million right there that we could save in salary cap. And Josh Sweat's already, I think, the better proven player. And I don't want to put that on record because obviously Derek Barnett, the fumble recovery in the Super Bowl, they're probably about the same in terms of production, in terms of upward trajectory, but Josh Sweat has the higher ceiling. So there we go on the defensive line. Another easy contract to get off the books is Malik Jackson, one of the very many terrible contracts hounded out by Howie Roseman. We're going to get almost $8 million there. We'll be rocking and roll with Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave as our 1-2 punch inside on the D-line. We also have Breeland Speaks, former high-round pick from the Kansas City Chiefs, filling out as D-tackle 3. Much like running backs and quarterbacks, which I didn't really break down, the linebackers, there's no money. There is absolutely no money to be had moving on from any of our linebackers. You go up into the secondary. Craig James, just a guy at this point. The fact that that's almost $1 million that we could shave off there. We got Jaquette, who looked awesome. Actually, he's 28? Like the oldest 1-year vet of all time. But he actually looked pretty damn good against DeAndre Hopkins, I think, in real life. This most recently past game against the Cardinals in real life. So that'll be our corners for now. Free safeties, no money to be made. Strong safeties, we have literally one on the roster. Kicker and Jake Elliott is a contract I 100% would want to get out of, but we do not have any free funds. So that's the first path through. Knowing that we have money that can be, shaved up about $5 million with a Zach Ertz trade, we are only $2 million over. So if we could trade Zach Ertz, which I'll try to actively seek a trade right now, we'll at least be able to partake in next year's football season. So before I go into this, I'm going to tell you what the baseline is that I'm kind of working off of for the value of Zach Ertz, so we keep this as realistic as possible. And the most relatable trade involving someone like this would have been the Jimmy Graham trade, kind of, when Jimmy Graham got traded from the New Orleans Saints to the Seattle Seahawks. At that time, Jimmy Graham was 29 years old. Zach Ertz is 30. And it was Jimmy Graham and a 4th-round pick to Seattle for Pro Bowl center Max Unger and a 1st-round pick. So kind of taking the law of averages there. I feel like for Zach Ertz, no one would be giving up a 1st, but I may be trying to see if I can get a 2nd-round pick and maybe a depth player at a position that I desperately need. There's a bunch of teams that do need tight ends, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not actively seeking a 1st-rounder, because if Jimmy Graham at 29 went for a Pro Bowler and a 1st-rounder, Zach Ertz at 30, coming off a little bit of a down year, whereas Jimmy Graham was at the peak when he left the New Orleans Saints, I think a 2nd-round pick will probably cap out at the highest draft pick that I will try to look for. They would just not have a player. I was able to reunite a little bit with Joe Douglas, former, I guess he was assistant to the general manager here in Philadelphia before he went on to become the outright general manager in New York, which is a good hire for you guys. Still regret to this day that he's not here. But we're able to send Zach Ertz and our earliest of our 2 fifth-round picks for a second-round pick, which is almost a glorified first-rounder because I'm picking 1 in the second round. I was trying so hard to get them to find a combination to throw in a player like linebacker Blake Cashman. I was trying to get corner Bryce Hall. Like, guys, I thought that were good value picks on that Jets roster. They just would not budge. So this is the deal. Zach Ertz is going to the Jets to most likely be Trevor Lawrence's safety net, and we get a premier pick. Get a peek here. We got to pay some respect to Zach Ertz. We can't just trade him and keep on keeping on here. He's one of the greatest players at the skill position spot Philly has ever had. And while things did not work out particularly well here in 2020, he did not look great, kind of look washed, and he also wanted to get a raise, which is pretty much right on the wall. We'll never forget 2018 where he had 116 catches, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Is the most productive tight end in Philadelphia Eagles history, and we very much wish him the best of luck, and most likely will be honored when he does retire with a spot in the Ring of Honor in Philadelphia. Best of luck to you, Zach. Thanks for everything, boss. So, in terms of signings, we barely have enough salary cap. I couldn't bring back Cam Johnson, so we got the gravedigger, Johnny Townsend here. He's a 65 overall punter on a 1-year, $800,000 deal, and we have just enough salary cap remaining to sign our draft picks. You know, I don't know what you were expecting when you start $47 million over the salary cap. All I do know is we need to have a dominant draft, or else it's going to be a very, very tough season to be competitive in. It's going to recap a free agency. As you see, we got just over $4 million there. We got Johnny Townsend at punter, the grave digger as our lone signing. Looking around the league, Jameis Winston going to the Colts, Todd Gurley, the Ravens, Lindsey to the Dolphins, Le'Veon Bell to the Colts, Bus Edwards to the Raiders. I like that fit. Juju to the Colts. Colts have a lot of salary cap. They are friggin', they are shopping. Funches to the Ravens, Pascal to the Seahawks, Westbrook to the Jets. We have a tight end, Gronk, going to the Carolina Panthers late in his career. Gerald Everett to the Bengals. On the offensive side, Villanueva, Washington. We have Assembly going to the Bengals. Pouncey going back home to Miami. Miami's throwing around a lot of money, too. That's nothing I've never seen before in a franchise. Miami spending like crazy in free agency. Snacks Harrison going to the Giants. Sheldon Rankins to the Jets. Hankins to the Broncos. Trey Hendrickson, breakout year for the Saints, 12.5 sacks. He's going to Baltimore. That's going to be an interesting fit. We'll have to kick him to an edge rusher. Dante Fowler to the Vikings. Derek Barnett taking his talents to Jacksonville. Good luck. Best of luck to you. Floyd going to the Raiders, giving them some edge help inside. Avery Williamson going to the Browns. Alex Anzalone going to the Green Bay Packers. So I was looking at guys I thought about potentially signing, and I was actually thinking about Spillane, because every time I've seen the Steelers in real life, he's actually looked solid. But Anzalone would have been, because he's a scheme fit, my big signing. I just did not have the money. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving him a 3-year, almost $11 million deal. In the secondary, Des King going to the Bengals. Mike Hilton going to the Bills. Rasul Douglas going to the Giants. Nickel Roby-Coleman, who was god-awful. Thank God he's no longer on our roster. Pulling at Andrew Sandeja and just being clearly washed with the Philadelphia Eagles, yet the Browns are going to give you a contract. Levi Wallace to the Texans. Jordan Lewis with that star dev going to the Seahawks. Joyner re-signing with the Raiders. Like a lot of solid corners here that if I had a little bit more money, I probably would have brought them in. Back end depth. Wow, the Dolphins are spending. Marcus Williams coming in. That's a huge signing to a secondary that already has Xavier Howard, already has Byron Jones, first round pick Noah Bongney. Sure, fine. That is a scary defense that they are building there in Miami. Earl Thomas back in the league as a veteran, signing a 2-year deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kyle Joseph going back to the Raiders. And there you go. Those are your signings. It's now draft time. It's draft time! We'll go through all the picks. Might as well see everyone that goes before we get our lovely selection. We have our needs established right now for our team. In the first round, I think wide receiver, I think linebacker and cornerback, even strong safety. Those are the 4 positions that we need to try and figure out here in the first round. Second round, we have 2 second-round picks. Wow. Sewell, first overall to the... What? They are keeping Sam Darnold. They are developing Sam Darnold, and they have brought in what is going to be probably the greatest 1-2 punch left and right tackle, potentially in NFL history. Becton has been amazing. Looks like a future All-Pro. Sewell might be the best tackle I've ever seen coming out of college. Right up there with Trent Williams when he's coming out of Oklahoma. That's actually insanity. Jags at pick 2. Clearly don't mess that up and get Trevor Lawrence. I appreciate that because if Trevor Lawrence was still on the board at pick 3, don't really want to deal with that for the next couple years. Giants at pick 3 get Micah Parsons, which obviously there's no chance in hell he was still going to be available for us, but that stinks because that's the first big name off the board that we would have considered. Pick 4, the Cincinnati Bengals get Greg Rousseau, D-end from Miami. Pick 5, Denver Broncos get Jamar Chase. So there we go, the top 2 names that we would have loved to have if we kind of followed the trajectory of the real-life Eagles and didn't end up winning some of our games. I was hoping Jamar Chase or Micah Parsons would land themselves on our team, but it is what it is. We have to wait till pick 25. At 6, the Atlanta Falcons get Kyle Pitts. That's an intriguing pick. Pick 7, the Dallas Cowboys get Boogie Basham. Pick 8, Patrick Surtain, another big name off the board here for the Philadelphia Eagles that 100% wouldn't realistically be available at 25. That's a good fit there for the Carolina Panthers. Pick 9, the New England Patriots go and get Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. A little bit of a fall there for Justin Fields. Pick 10, the Chargers get Jalen Waddle. The carve out and be wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I mean, Mike Williams can't stay healthy, so yeah, that's probably wide receiver 2 for Justin Herbert there, him and Keenan Allen. Pick 11, the football team. Who is coming into the division? It is, Trey Lance. We got a young quarterback now in the division that we have to keep an eye on. Pick 12, the Detroit Lions get Jay Tefele. Pick 13, Chicago Bears get Jalen Twyman. Pick 14, the 49ers select Christian Barmore, a run on defensive lineman. Pick 15, the Miami Dolphins select center Creed Humphrey. That's a good pick. Helps solidify that offensive line. Pick 16, the Minnesota Vikings go after Caleb Farley. So another corner that absolutely would have been in play for Philadelphia at 25 is off the board. The second first-round pick via the Houston Texans for the Miami Dolphins, I think, is Pat Freiermuth at tight end. That pick makes absolutely no sense because Mike Gesicki is very good, but a wasteless pick is good for us here in Philadelphia. Pick 18, the Browns select Eric Stokes, corner from Georgia, guy that would have been on our big board for sure. Wyatt Davis at guard going to the Raiders, filling in. He's most likely going to take over for the recently retired Richie Incognito. That's not a bad pick. Pick 20, the Buccaneers get Marvin Wilson from Florida State at D tackle. The Colts at 21 select Rondale Moore at wide receiver. Pick 22, Arizona Cardinals get J.C. Horn, corner, Joe Horn's kid. Pick 23, Baltimore Ravens. Get Sean Wade. Absolutely, probably would have been our pick, even though he's a slot corner. It's Madden. I would try to get him to play on the outside. And pick 24, the New Orleans Saints select Israel Mukwamu. So a run on corners for us as a Philadelphia Eagles team that absolutely needs a corner. Looking at the big board here, looks like there's very much an obvious selection. I mean, there's still some guys available. We're the quarterback factory, and Zach Wilson is still here at pick 25. ETN, Najee Harris at running back. Wide receiver is a need. Devontae Smith is very good. I like Tylan Wallace, though. I have good scouting for what's Smith? Mid first, Tylan Wallace. Late first. Like, if we didn't go Devontae Smith, I think I would be able to get Tylan Wallace with that Jets pick that we got in the Zach Ertz trade. But obviously, Devontae Smith is Devontae Smith. We will consider that. On the offensive line, there's still some. We don't have any linemen scouted because I'm content with my own line here. Rashawn Slater, 100% would probably be the pick if Howie Roseman was in control of the board. Versatile lineman? Are you kidding me? Clearly, we're going to draft that. We could get younger at defensive end. I like Roche. I like Jalen Phillips, but that's obviously a later pick. Kwity Paye's interesting as well. D-line, it's not my most updated draft class. Unfortunately, Davion Nixon, who I think not a lot of people are talking about right now, but he's from Iowa. I thought he'd be a first-round D tackle. He won't be included here. I'll retrospectively add him into my next draft class, even though I'm pretty sure he'll declare this year. That's another guy, much like Rashawn Slater, though, that I do think could be in play for Philly. Ojulari, more of an edge rusher. We'd have to convert him to a D end, and I don't really need that. Middle linebacker is a position that's hurting for Philly, but I think we'd have a shot at any of these guys in the second round, be it Owosu Koroma, Chaz Surratt, Dylan Moses got a first-round grade from us. That would be probably the best pick. I think Zaven Collins as well makes a whole lot of sense. Jabril Cox would also make a whole lot of sense. So at least none of these linebackers make sense in the first round. In the secondary, again, I do need a corner. I need an outside corner. While Asante Samuel Jr. would sound incredibly enticing, that kind of doesn't solve the issue of what we were dealing with last year in secondary, where we just have Darius Slay and a bunch of depth guys. Adebo, that's not what you want to see, a red diamond next to his name, but we're going to have to pull the trigger on a corner at some point. I got late round guys, Carter and Bynum. Carter even there, 5'11". It's a little bit of an outside shot that he'd be an outside corner. I need a safety. Javon Holland, Canadian. But this will be something that'll be more in play in the second round. Because we also have solid scouting beyond that. LeCount from Georgia would be an interesting guy that can come in. We need more of a strong safety, though, because I think Kavon Wallace, long-term, could be the play at free safety. But I don't have to, gamble on a safety right away. Bubba Bolden from Miami, 5th rounder. That's a good value pick. Same with Harvell Pell from Oklahoma State. Strong safety. We have all the strong safeties on the board. Still, I'm thinking that could be second round pick territory. Caden Stearns in particular, because he's a second round talent projected to go in the 4th round. Let's not overthink it. Let's not overthink it whatsoever. Devontae Smith, Alabama, very well, when all is said and done, could emerge as the Heisman Trophy winner. That is going to be our pick at 25, and he is a 74 hidden dev. Number 19 in true value, getting him at pick 25. To compare that to Jalen Reagor, I'm pretty sure Jalen Reagor was a 72 hidden dev when we started this game. So that's hopefully a better pick than Jalen Reagor. Even though in Madden, for everything you are watching, Jalen Reagor is pretty solid as a rookie for us. We got 91 speed, 91 acceleration, 84 catching, 79 catching traffic. The route running is pretty solid there. 82 spec catch. Looks good. Looks pretty damn good. That's a big need, a big get for our offense. Because we pick again so quickly, let's just go through right up until that first pick that we got and acquired from the Jets in the Zach Ertz trade. Then I'll just, pretty much just straight up skip to our pick. So with the second pick in the first round for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they select Javon Holland. 27 for the Buffalo Bills. They get more. So really, Holland is the only guy that I was truly interested in. Jets get Rashawn Slater. Pick 30, the Pittsburgh Steelers get Chaz Surratt. Okay, there goes one of our linebackers. Pick 31, the Tennessee Titans get Quincy Roche. Pick 32, please don't be Dylan Moses. Tyson Campbell's off the board. So we have a slightly tough decision to make here, I suppose, given our draft board, because we have some first rounders. Tylan Wallace is a first round talent. We have guys that we know are still solid, even though we didn't sell. Kwity Paye is going to be solid for sure. I think it's pretty obvious. Actually, I don't want to say it's pretty obvious. We have Dylan Moses. We have Zaven Collins. As it stands right now, me personally, I think Zaven Collins is the higher ceiling linebacker. But for the sake of Madden, just looking at these stats, it seems fairly obvious that Dylan Moses is the pick that needs to be made here. I feel like right now, if I'm mapping this out in my head, if I can get Zaven Collins with my second round pick, we could absolutely still need 2 linebackers. As much as I like Alex Singleton, it's not good enough. But for this pick here, there might be a chance we get a dev trait, but the scouting says get this man, and wow! Dylan Moses, number 13 in true value, getting him at 33, 75 hidden dev linebacker, 87 speed, 87 tackle. That's a home run. That's absolutely a home run. Back-to-back Alabama. About time we just stopped drafting Pac-12 players. Let's get guys that come from legit schools. And Dylan Moses, even though he's coming off a down year, might not be the same athlete that he was coming off the injury for Alabama. Still a hell of a pick here for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm still thinking, for that second round pick, Zaven Collins could still very much be on the board. Pick 25. This is tough because it's like, what do we want as a potential risk? There's a chance Caden Stearns will be available in the 3rd round. There's a chance. But if I don't hit Caden Stearns, I could just as easily flip Rodney McLeod for one more year at strong safety, whereas he absolutely could play there, and go Kevon Wallace at free safety. The inverse of that, we're like, all right, we get Zaven Collins at linebacker. If I don't get Zaven Collins at linebacker, that means we will need to have Alex Singleton play a little bit more. So, and I don't have a problem with either one of those scenarios, but I feel like at this point, we need to go with the player that is and offers the most talent, and that is Zaven Collins, 6'4", 256, linebacker from Tulsa. Did not get a dev trait. I was hoping we could get a dev trait and everyone would just bomb the comments with, oh my God, he's juicing his own draft classes up. But that's still a nice player. That is like as good of a 1st round pick as you could probably ask for if it was like a Madden generated draft class. Zaven Collins, 72 normal dev, still a good pick. Number 29 in true value, getting that at 57. And we have our linebacking core. It's going to be Davion Taylor. It's going to be Zaven Collins. And it's going to be Dylan Moses. And that's exactly the change that we need to have in Philadelphia. Now, prayers up that Caden Stearns is still available in the 3rd round. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is soul crushing. Like, that's like what are the legitimate odds of that happening? I mean, obviously you could probably figure it out. It's like 1 in 32, but that's a slap in the face. Okay, well, we got our linebackers. At this point here, it's either safety, and look at the safeties that are there. We have Jacoby Stevens or corner. We desperately need an outside corner. You can get Greedy Williams' brother, or Darius Williams. We can't keep waiting on corners. I didn't scout Chase Lucas. Chase Lucas is definitely not a bad player either. D tackle is also a spot that I've kind of thought about. Fedarian Mathis could be an interesting selection at this point. But we gotta grab an outside corner when we can, and we only have scouting right now on Rodarius Williams. That'll be our pick. Not bad. Got a red one, though. 67 normal for Greedy Williams' brother. Had a breakout year at Oklahoma State. 109 in true value. Getting that at 89. 89 speed, 90 acceleration. 72 man coverage. Very much a work in progress player. I'm going to make this pick. I have 5th, 6th, and 7th just as I want him on my team. Kadarius Toney, 6'6" overall. Am I dogging him? He probably is higher than that if you're using anyone else's draft class. It's a good pick, though. I want him. I want him on my roster. 6th round, we have 2 safeties here that have 6th round talent. Brady Breeze from Oregon. Hufanga from USC. Hufanga has the better grade in terms of early round talent. I think generally for a player, I think Breeze might be the better athlete. But Hufanga, a lot more productive. So let's grab him. At strong safety, 65 normal, 162 in true value, getting him at 185. More of a run stuffer. It's good depth. That's good depth to have at strong safety. Also can contribute on special teams in that Rudy Ford role. Now we're at a final pick in the draft for us. We're pretty much dealing with UDFAs. It's times like this that I remember what the ratings were so I could poach a stud. I want a power back. I feel like I can wait till UDFA. We need a tight end. And Doug Peterson's kid most likely would be a UDFA that we can just bring in, and that makes a whole lot of sense. Tevin Jenkins, draftable tackle here. 6th rounder potentially, but the rest of the linemen don't look anything amazing. I mean, Herring from BYU has a good combine, great athlete. Could be worth the selection there, supposedly. He's top of the board, but it's tough. Looking at my actual roster, we need a backup center for Kelsey, and there's not really one that I like out of all these guys that are available. We need a 3rd tight end. Like I said, I think we can get Peterson's kid in UDFA. So flipping to the defensive side, we could use a little bit of depth at defensive tackle. There's no one here that's screaming. make this pick whatsoever. Linebacking core depth is not brutal. I only have 4 corners on the roster. And looking at some of the corners that are here, there's some, there's talent for sure. McCreary's draftable. Strouder's draftable. Job's draftable. From Alabama, we could stick with the blue chip players from Alabama. Let's grab them. Josh Jobe, 62. That's not a bad pick. 265 in true value. I mean, it says it's a bad pick, but I'll take for UDFA someone in the 60s. Don't need a super long draft recap. You just saw it, but I do think it'll be interesting in particular to see how at least the teams in our division have drafted. But we got 2 dev traits right off the rip here. Devontae Smith, 74 hidden dev. Dylan Moses, 75 hidden dev. Zaven Collins, Rodarius Williams. You could actually probably argue, though, that our day 2, late day 3 picks weren't particularly amazing, but I'm happy with it, man. Rodarius Williams, Kadarius Toney, Hufanga, and Josh Jobe make up our roster. Let's see, Dallas. What did Dallas do? They got Boogie Basham. They got Aziz Ojulari, Alaric Jackson, another Canadian going to Dallas. Des Ridder, and North Dakota State tackle Cordell Vol. That's not a bad draft whatsoever. Boogie Basham, hidden dev trait. Ojulari, hidden dev trait. Alaric Jackson, okay, that's annoying. East Ridder doesn't have one. Giants. Where are the Giants at? The Giants got Micah Parsons, so that's going to be fun to deal with. Owosu Koroma, 68 normal. CJ Verdell, running back Oregon with a hidden dev trait. So it seems like every team in the NFC so far has at least 2 hidden dev trait players. So at least there's consistency there. That's a solid draft, though, for the Giants. Got Brock Purdy at quarterback. Don't really get the Verdell pick, especially like using a premier pick where you have Saquon Barkley, but going back there, linebacker, that is a lot of talent coming in. And a football team. They got Trey Lance at quarterback, 73 with a hidden dev. Vera Tucker at guard, 69 normal. They got Terrace Marshall Jr., 70 normal. Still, that's a solid draft. They might not have had the 2 dev traits. There you go. You got one there in Reed Blankenship. But they had generally, no real bad picks whatsoever here for football team. But I would argue that, I wouldn't even make the argument that we had easily the best draft. Everyone generally had a solid draft. I'm very happy, though, with the talent that we have acquired. Let me know in the comment section how you guys feel about this draft. I think it looks awesome. If this happens in real life, I'd shit bricks. I'd shit a brick. It'd be painful, but I would do it for a draft this good. So UDFA time. We have positions I need. I kind of want tight end 3. I want a backup center. I need D tackle 3 and another corner. Now, I don't know why in the hell this is so expensive because we have no salary cap, but I feel like it'd be it's something. So we'll get Doug Peterson's kid in to be tight end 3 on our squad. We need a backup center. So my God, all these centers are like $1 million. That might not be in play. So we're not going to do that right now. We need a depth defensive tackle. So where's as cheap as we can go? We can get some UDFA again in that territory. There's a couple guys here. Heflin, 62. Morrell, 62. Bethley's a 63. Lorenzo Neal's a 63. I might as well just look for the rookies. 63 high. Slayton's a 65. All right. Wharton's a 70. Not even a UDFA, but can I bring you in? Yes, we're going to bring in Tershawn Wharton. Sure. I want another corner on my roster. What do we got here? Sales. Miko Dodson's a 65. All these guys here are also like $1 million. That is a little bit out of my price range, even though Holton Hill has size to play on the outside. 6'2". Can I bring him in? We have barely any money left, but I've been able to fill out my roster. I officially can save money getting rid of Mr. JJ. I mean, I could just throw him on the practice squad. No, this is out of principle. Get off my team. Very happy to still see him here. Boston Scott, we can make it happen. I think we can, even though it's only a 1-year deal, we can bring back Boston Scott. I would be remiss if we didn't do that. Maybe we could, there's just no center that I want, or even anyone that I feel like I can kick in to be our backup center at this given point in time. This guy, Hogue, can you kick in? Maybe I'll just convert you to be an awkward center. We'll add you to the team. And that's about it. At quarterback, Carson Wentz. We hired Ken Dorsey coming over from the Bills to salvage Carson Wentz. And at least we know in real life that it wouldn't be too unrealistic if things continue to be the same with Wentz. Turnover-prone football, that we can go to Jalen Hurts, and then there's just another kink into this franchise about, do we trade Carson Wentz? Can we trade Carson Wentz? Who would trade for Carson Wentz? But we are going into the season with the idea that we did enough to help out Carson Wentz to succeed this season. Running backs, we got Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Huntley, and Elijah Holyfield, so no turnover from last year. Fulham, Jalen Reagor, Greg Ward, Devontae Smith, Hightower, Quez Watkins, and Kadarius Toney will make up our wide receiver room. I'm thinking we have Fulham and Smith on the outside with Jalen Reagor in the slot, G. Ward as top slot depth. I think that's probably what's best going forward for this team, at least as an initial depth chart. Tight end, no more Zach Ertz. It is time to make that full commitment to Dallas Goedert, and I don't think we're going to regret moving on from Zach Ertz, or essentially picking Dallas Goedert over Zach Ertz. I do think that was the right decision all along. We have Butler and Josh Peterson here. Left tackle, we had a decision to make between Dillard and Mailata. I think Mailata, if you had to pick a two, this is something that Philly's going to have to make a decision in real life. I think, Siamalo is an average guard. It's not bad. He's okay at guard. He can play left guard, right guard. Is a pretty shitty center, but at least he can hut the ball fairly well. But he's like more of a depth guy. And I feel like if you're Philadelphia and you have Mailata and Dillard, you got to find a way to get them both on the line. They're both, you would hope, good enough to play. I think Mailata's body type and his strength is far more suited to guard play than Dillard is. But Mailata, I think, has a much higher ceiling as a potential franchise tackle. So it's Madden. I'm taking this one little liberty. I'm going to have Mailata stay at left tackle, and I'm going to kick Andre Dillard into guard, even though I don't think in real life that would be the best result. That's what we're doing. And Dillard will be our starting left guard, with Siamalo being good rotational depth. Behind that, we got Kelsey, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson from the center all the way out to the right-hand side, which is massive upgrade. Since we've played with the Philadelphia Eagles in this series, we haven't had Lane Johnson. We haven't had Brandon Brooks. That is going to be huge. Not only for the run game that was dominant without those guys in the lineup, but more so protecting Carson Wentz. On the defense, we got Brandon Graham, like a fine line, playing his best football of his career. Just made his first career Pro Bowl in real life. And for us, went up to a superstar depth trait after a very, very respectable season last year, where he finished with a career high 12.5 sacks. So, yeah, keep on keeping on there. Right end, Josh Sweat, outright, it's his spot. No more Derek Barnett. It is Josh Sweat's gig. Avery will be our rotational edge rusher. Inside, we have Cox and Hargrave. They are going to have to be very good and not get hurt, because the depth behind him is young. There's some upside here in Wharton and Speaks, but it's not proven depth. It's not the same depth that Philly, Philly's always had, like a Timmy Jernigan. We had Malik Jackson. We've always had depth at D tackle, and because of salary cap, not going to have that this year. So we need these guys to stay healthy. The linebacking core, we have Zaven Collins will be getting the start here. Singleton is great depth. I feel like if there are injuries, Singleton and TJ Edwards, I think those are solid depth guys for sure, but they're depth guys. Zaven Collins has a lot more upside as a rookie, 6'4", 256. We got Dylan Moses, middle linebacker, 75, hidden dev, maybe one of the better value picks from that entire NFL draft. And then the breakout star from our playoff game, Davion Taylor. Hopefully he can build upon that and become a very legitimate starter for us this season. We need him to. He's a very, very good athlete. Complements what we have. We now have 3 very athletic linebackers across the board. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what these linebacking guys can develop as a core. And hopefully, finally, Philly has a solution at the linebacking core. What we don't have a solution at, though, is corner. We're still kind of stuck with Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox in the slot. Who's going to be the other outside guy? There's not. Job Jaquette, Rodarius Williams wasn't the home run draft pick. I mean, that's not a bad draft pick at all, but it wasn't like we got a guy that was like 72, 73, or got a guy that's 6'7" with a hidden dev trait. We're hurting. We got Holton Hill in free agency. Even that, though, it's still, that's not ideal. That's certainly not ideal to have as your starting outside corner. So maybe we'll take a gander at the trade block. I won't be making a trade this episode, but we can see just what names are available at corner. But I like Slay for sure. Made the Pro Bowl, and Maddox is a nice slot, corner 3. Free safety, we're going Kevon Wallace outright as our start at free safety, and I'm kicking Roddy McLeod, who at this point in time, his biggest asset is his tackling, is his run defense, so it makes a fairly easy transition for him to kick in here to the strong safety. I assume we could probably... you don't need to officially have a backup free safety, but that's solid safety. That Ryan Neal has looked solid in snaps in real life with Seattle, and actually he was brought into the league as a UDFA with the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll stay with that. We have Jake Elliott, who probably has the ugliest contract on our team, which I would want to get out of, but at least for Madden purposes, that 97 kick power, me being the best kicker on YouTube, it's a match made in heaven. We got Johnny Townsend, the Gravedigger, at punter on a 1-year deal. And we'll just sign some guys to our practice squad later, because right now I cannot go and get young players for like $1 million a hit. I just don't have that money. So that's our team. Very cautiously optimistic that we're going to be very good this year. If we can stay healthy, we're going to be very good. I do want to take a peek here, though, at what corners are available on the trade block, because that is very much a position of need. Don't really want Trey Waynes. Ooh. Amani Oruwariye, Penn State, 25.77. I don't think he has a star dev or anything like that, but that is interesting. We don't really have anything to trade. They do need a right tackle. Maybe kick Dillard over to right tackle. We can get Oruwariye. I mean, as far as outside corners, David Long is he what, 6 feet? 5'11". Good athlete though. Isaiah Johnson, height, weight, speed, 6'2", 210 with 92 speed. There's some guy, but I mean, those guys there aren't really upgrades over Holden Hill. The play would be Amani Oruwariye. A linebacker, I like Singleton. A package deal with Singleton. D-tack, we just don't have. I don't know. Picks and a D-tack. What do you think about it? You guys could think of a trade, a realistic trade to make with Detroit, potentially for Oruwariye. Let me know in the comment section below. But there's a guy there. There is a red herring. And maybe we can reel that guy in with a trade at a later date. But that is it. We'll wrap up this Eagles offseason episode. I hope you guys are going to have an awesome Christmas Eve here tonight. Have a safe and healthy Christmas Eve. Thank you for tuning into the channel. As always, all I'm asking in return is a thumbs up. They very much help with my videos right now when YouTube is not helping my channel. I'm trying to actively kill my channel. So that's all I can ask is, hey, a thumbs up, and we'll see what happens if my video gets recommended in the searches and stuff. That's episode 11. I don't know when episode 12 will be. It's either going to be Sunday before my big long rant, I assume, about the Eagles and Dallas game, or it will be Monday the 28th. One of those 2 days, we will have episode 12 of this Eagles franchise. So stay tuned and plug to your sub boxes for when that becomes available. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the offseason. Hope I did a good job of the draft, because the free agency certainly did suck, just massacring my team to get under the salary cap there. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys back here in the next one. Peace out.